Hi everyone, welcome to the cooking demo for Sattui's virtual barrel tasting. Today we'll be making a Bucatini based pasta puttanesca, and that's going to be paired with any of our reds from our virtual barrel tasting today. Let's get to cooking. Puttanesca is a great pantry staple. It originated from having what you had on hand to make a quick pasta and easily utilized for this simple but brilliant pasta dish. Great for any night of the week with a beautiful Sattui red. We're going to start with some fresh basil. We are going to stack our leaves, and we're going to do what's called a chiffonade cut. And chiffonade is a fancy French word that just means tiny ribbons of basil, as far as I'm concerned. Basil is a fragile leaf, so this technique is designed to be able to cut it without bruising your herbs, so you don't have a bunch of black herbs across your pasta. So we've stacked our leaves, and now we're going to start on one side, and we're just going to roll it forward, nice and tight, but not too firm. Now that we have a nice long tube, you're going to take our knife, and then we're just going to pull it across and down, down and across. It's important that we do a slicing motion because it'll prevent our herb from being bruised. So one more time, a little faster. Nice and smooth. Beautiful. And we're just going to lightly go through that one last time. Just taking your knife in a pulling motion and just kind of break up those ribbons just a hair, and we'll have nice, beautiful basil for finishing our puttanesca. Next up, we're going to take some anchovy fillet, and we're just going to give it a nice light dice. It's going to add that nice umami pop to our dish. And it's going to add a very beautiful briny fishness to our dish that is just going to kind of match up to our wine very appropriately. And it's going to make that wine sing against that background. And we're basically just doing a nice fine mince, going through it, and then just going through it one more time, just to make sure we get nice little pieces. If you want to get really fancy, you can take your blade and you can press it against the blade, making it more into a paste. A little bit of salt goes a long way here. Alternatively, you could also use an anchovy paste, if that's what you have in your pantry. Cheers. All right, let's talk confit tomatoes. So what we've taken here are some cherry tomatoes, and a way to preserve them, we've split them in half. We've thrown them in the dehydrator or your oven, 235, about 2 to 2.5 hours. Basically what we're doing is we're reducing our water activity, and we're increasing the flavor of those cherry tomatoes. So here we have our finished product, and this is what's going to go into our puttanesca. All right, let's cook. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add some salt to our water, and we're going to make it about as salt as the ocean. Be pretty generous with this. I basically go until my water stops boiling, and that's how I know I've hit saturation. Give it a moment for it to kind of dissolve into your solution. And we're back at a boil. We are going to drop our bucatini pasta. We have a pound here. We're going to stir it just enough to make sure it doesn't stick. Other than that, we're going to turn our heat down just a little bit and just let it coast the rest of the way. What we're going to do is we're going to take it to al dente, and then we're going to set it aside and we'll reserve it for later. And if you burn it, we call it al dente. So now that we're at a boil, our pasta is wilted. We're just going to turn down our heat just a little bit, and we're just going to let it kind of roll on a nice medium high. Let's give it a taste. Perfect al dente. Now we're going to strain it. This is where it gets fun. All right, so now we are on to our saute step. We're going to start with our aromatics. We're going to start with a little bit of olive oil. Just enough to kind of coat the base. Make sure we get a good saute on everything. We're going to lead off with our shallot, slivered garlic, Give that a light stir. Nice little coat in our oil. Turn down our heat just a tad. We want these to sweat, not brown. From here, we're gonna add our chili flake, our anchovy. And then we're just gonna let this kind of mingle. Now the joy of this dish is you're always about 12 minutes away from making it. Wow, it smells fantastic. You turn it down a little bit. So while you're managing your heat, you're making sure you're not browning them too much. We're gonna kick in our tomato. We have some confit tomato here from earlier. And you can use fresh, that's been halved. Just make sure that when you do this step, you give them a little extra time to kind of soften up in the pan. Going with our capers. All right, now we're gonna kick in our pasta. It's been cooked. Splash more oil, just to kind of loosen it up. We're gonna add in our calamatas. And we're just gonna kind of swirl it together, make sure we get a good toss, good coat. And we're working over low heat right now. Smells amazing. From here, we're gonna finish lemon zest from a single lemon. And we're gonna hit it with some fresh lemon juice just to loosen up that zest, bring some acidity to the plate. Finally finishing with our fresh basil, and we'll save a little bit for a garnish on top. All right, let's go to plate. So we have our pasta over here. Give it a little toss. We have some tongs. We're just gonna twist. We're gonna use the spoon to kind of guide it. And we're just gonna come in neatly as we can and slide right off. Let's get some of those goodies. And the beauty of this is that it comes right out of the pantry. It's easy to make. We're gonna finish with some fresh basil. Just to bring it up a tad. And some fresh leaves. Some torn basil. So, there you have it. Pasta Puttanesca. Let's give it a taste. A little bite of everything. Oh man, beautiful. Honestly, any of the red wines from our virtual barrel tasting are gonna absolutely sing with this dish. Thanks for joining us. Until next time. Bon appetit.